As an international student who intends to study in Europe, precisely in Austria, there are various things you should put into consideration while you wait for the admissions windows to open. Now, I will be talking to you about some of the things you need to plan ahead or some of the things you need to prepare so that as soon as the admission windows open, you should do them and implement the strategies and if you want to actually study. Austria is one of those countries in Europe with diverse cultures and with a very cheap rate of tuition fee in which international students always want to move into. Well, it looks like a majority of international students still don't know that Austrian universities are super cheap, all right? In fact, I usually say they are free tuition, all right? But because of the fact that you have to pay a small token of at least 350 euros or 363 or 700 euros, that is why we cannot just completely say it is tuition. Guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for watching today. If you are new to the channel, please do not forget we do it here as a tradition. Click the like button and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel below so that when I post a new video, you will be the first to watch. The subscribe button is found beneath this video in red. Please tap that button and make sure you turn on the bell. Alright. Now, as an international student who is looking for cheaper means to study in Europe in 2023, this is a video for you to watch and make sure you watch to the end and share with somebody. These tricks are going to help you get an admissions easily in an Austrian university. University's application is going to start in Austria probably from January, February, March upwards against October intake of 2023. So if you don't have a lot of money, or let's say if you have money just for proof of funds, which is something I would like to elaborate about at the extreme end of this video, then you should be looking at it because Austria has very cheap tuition universities, or let me put it this way, the tuition fee in Austrian universities is not that much like in countries like Sweden, Norway, though Norway is tuition free, I beg your pardon, countries like Sweden, Lithuania, Latvia, and all the other countries in Europe like Estonia, all right, and UK. So it is now advantage for you to check all the Austrian universities. That is point number one if you want to get easy admissions into Austrian schools. Start checking the universities and know where or how you are going to go about the application. For example, there are a lot of universities in Austrian cities, like the city of Vienna has a lot of universities. There is the University of Salzburg, all right? There is the University of Economics and Business in Vienna and other universities, all right? We also have the University of Innsbruck in other places. We equally have the Austrian University of Technology, all right? And there is the National University of Science and Technology, all of them, all right? You also have the University of Graz. You also have Johann Kepler's University. Now, all these universities don't have the same programs. If you take a look at all the schools very well, you will realize that most of them are dealing with economics and management programs. Very few of them have science-related and arts programs. Again, put this into consideration. Know that most Austrian universities don't offer bachelor's degree programs in English language, but you will have a couple or many masters, or let me say a majority of the master's programs in Austrian universities are taught in English, all right? So if you are looking for bachelor's degree in English, then I would recommend you check the YouTube channel. There is a video I did about universities that offer bachelor's programs in English. Now also understand that most programs are taught in the German language, so you may want or you may need the German proficiency, or you may prove that you are prominent in German in order to study any of these programs that are taught in German language. Otherwise, you go for the English taught programs. Now, you have identified a university and you have seen a program that you want. The next thing you need to do is to check the language requirements and check the requirements for that particular program inclusively. First of all, check the language. Is the program taught in English language? If it is a master's program, okay. Now, if it's in English language, do I need to submit ielts score or the TOEFL score, or can I produce a proficiency from my university to show that I studied in English? Is that possible? Check all of that. Then if it's in German, do I have the German proficiency? Can I write the German? Do I have the means to write? If you are not able, then you switch to a different university. That is why I say you must start by checking the schools and equally checking their requirements. Some programs will need you to write motivation letters, and some will equally need you to submit CV and working experience and reference letters, while others are not like that. All right, so you probably need to check. Most private universities will always ask you to to provide reference letters, while public schools may not ask you. All right, but most of them will equally ask for your motivation letter. Like the University of Economics and Business has 3 sections for you to write the motivation letter, while the University of Vienna has just 1. So that is the difference. Now, after checking the requirements, you now need to go to the application deadlines. Austrian universities don't have the same deadlines. If you want to study in a university, for example, the University of Vienna, and another student wants to study in the University of Economics and Business in Vienna, they have 2 different deadlines for the winter intake. All right, pretty much the University of Economics and Business will close early, while the University of Vienna will still extend its intake for admissions or admission intake. So you may want to consider checking their deadlines. I hope this is understood. Now, when you check the deadlines, make sure you check the admissions procedure. Admissions procedure in most Austrian universities vary from university to university and sometimes from program to program. For example, if you are looking at the University of Innsbruck and the University of Economics and Business in Vienna, you would equally understand that they do not have the same application procedure. For example, the University of Innsbruck would want you to apply online, then you equally send your hard copies of your certificates to them. Meanwhile, another university like the University of Economics and Business in Vienna would want you to apply online, then you upload your documents online, then they will do the evaluation, and that is all. Again, always trying to put into consideration the legalization procedure. You have to authenticate your documents first of all, then you legalize them, all right? Some schools will ask you to authenticate your documents before you apply for admissions. Others will equally ask you to apply for admissions, then you authenticate your documents later. While others will tell you that you have to authenticate your documents and send the authenticated copies to them before you get the admissions. For example, the University of Innsbruck always asks for hard copies, but you can always check to know because not all the terms will have the same procedures. I hope you understand. So that is why I always insist that you check the application procedures. Another example is the University of Vienna and Economics will always have an entrance examination, like most universities in Vienna or in Austria, while other schools will not always ask you for an entrance qualifications or entrance examination. So you always need to check this. Sometimes the University of Vienna will say if the number of students who applied for the program are more than this particular amount, then there is going to be an online exam. But some countries, or let me say some universities, have specific programs that you can apply without going through the entrance exam. That is an example like the University of Vienna. So you need to check all of these one after the other, or you need to go from university to university to know all of this. If you follow these guidelines I'm giving you, by next year, October, you will be in Austria. And note that tuition fee is very cheap, which I'm coming to that. Now, let's talk about the tuition fee. Most universities in Austria, especially the public schools like the University of Vienna, the University of Innsbruck, the University of Graz, all right, a lot of them are in Austria. Most of them will charge you just 363 euros for an international student who is applying either for bachelor's or master's. Likewise, international students applying for master's and PhD will always pay that amount of money. But again, the difference all boils down here if you are coming from a less developed country or you are coming from a country that is considered a third world nation. Though all of them looks the same, but there are some particular countries that the Austrian authorities, or let me say if you are studying there as a nationality from those countries, you may tend to pay way lesser than another international student who is coming from Africa. I noticed this and I'm explaining this so that you can check the websites very keenly. I'm going to drop a link of some universities in Austria in the video description box that can help you. All right. Tuition fee in private universities in Austria is different from public schools in Austria. Private universities charge more than public schools in Austria. However, admissions into private schools in Austria is pretty easy compared to public schools in Austria because basically you are just going to go through an interview, you speak with an admissions officer, then after that you are good to go. They will give you the admissions letter. Public schools sometimes will be very strict in terms of admissions because private schools does not really care about what is going on. All most of them are interested is the money. So you have to put this into consideration before you apply for any program in Austria. All right. Another thing I want to talk about, when you have identified the tuition fee, remember your tuition fee as an international student is different from that of an Austrian citizen or a student coming from the European Union. However, understand that some people like some people like the set of disabled people, or let me say disabled people, and equally refugees, they have some special advantages. In some universities in Austria, like the University of Vienna, they give a special discount to refugees. I'm now explaining this thing because I remember someone asked me if refugees can actually study in most of these European countries. As a refugee, you have the right to study. It doesn't stop you from studying, but make sure you do not break the laws, all right? Because you have been asked to go and study, not to go and work. There are certain laws that binds you from doing certain things, all right? Let me put it this way. So that is how it is. Again, remember that some set of students may be asked to pay tuition fee inclusively a semester contribution, while others will not, all right? Then you as an international student, your own tuition fee is going to be different. That is what I want to specify here so that you know before you start this journey. Again, remember you started from the universities. You now need to check the procedures, how the admissions procedures and the application deadlines are. Then you check the tuition fee. Again, check the legalization procedure. I always like to specify this. Legalization to Austrian universities is very important. All you need to do as a Nigerian, you take your bachelor's certificate and the transcript and your WAEC certificate if you want to apply for masters. You go to the Austrian embassy and you do the legalization there. All right, but before you go, always check the Austrian embassy website because the laws are different. Like I said already. Now, if you are not a Nigerian, you equally need to take, for example, Cameroonians and Ghanaians, take your certificate and the transcripts to the VFS offices. Check the Austrian embassy website. You are going to find information on legalization and the fees involved. This is now to everybody watching this channel. All right. Then you take these documents to the embassy, or let me say start from the Ministry of Education in your home country, then to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. All right. From the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I think it is called authentication. Then you take them to the VFS office for verification and legalization. Of course, remember everything has a fee attached to it. You can equally check all of this on the Austrian Embassy website. I hope you understand. Then after that, you can now apply for your visa. But if you succeed to do the legalization or the authentication at the level of the Ministry of Education and Foreign Affairs, and your university does not need you to legalize at the embassy before application, then you are good to go with these two legalization. Then when you get your admissions now, you now book an appointment and go to Abuja to apply and first of all legalize the document and apply, because legalization pretty take one day, 2 days maximum, all right, and you get it. And again, when you are doing legalization, they will ask you what you want to do with the document, and it is going to be for a student visa application. They must know the purpose before they will do the legalization for you. I hope you understand how this is done. Then when you are now set with your visa, you move to Austria. But remember, a very important document is proof of funds. Before I come to the proof of funds, let me also draw your attention to the fact that if you want to apply for a visa to migrate to Austria, you need to equally use your certificates you use to apply for the admissions. All right, you add the medical insurance and you add other details like the yellow booklet and your passport, and you apply for the visa. Now, proof of funds is also going to be added to it, and the proof of funds is 12,000 euros. If it should be minimum, it should be 11,000 euros in your own personal bank account. I equally always explain this so that international students can learn and know that this is what is going to happen. The money must be in your bank account. Then when you migrate to Austria, because you need a residence permit, in case you were not given a residence permit at the embassy, because some people get just an entering visa, all right, in case you were not given, then you will need that money in your account in Austria to do your residence permit, all right. But if you are given a residence permit for at least 1 year, then you can leave the money in your account in Nigeria, or you can withdraw the money and give to your family and you migrate. As simple as ABC. I hope this video would help somebody. I do not know where you are watching from. Please indicate in the comment section when you are commenting where you are watching from. I want to thank you especially because without you, I will not be here talking on the internet. Thank you so much for understanding. Until we meet again in another video.